What did Jesus find difficult? When did Jesus struggle? Of course, the go-to answer is Gethsemane, and then all that follows on Good Friday. No one could deny that Jesus struggled then. We have it from his own mouth. When Jesus prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, he said, "I am deeply grieved, even to death." Then he threw himself onto the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not what I want, but what you want." No one could deny that this was a very difficult time for Jesus, and that he struggled. And in the garden, he was conflicted. Of course, he did not want the suffering, the humiliation, but he did want to continue in obedience to God. And so he prayed, "My Father, if this cannot pass unless I drink it, your will be done." So he did struggle on this night, and of course the next day. But was this the only time he struggled, when he was conflicted? Were there others? I think so, and the more I've thought about it, the more instances I have found. Let's start by rewinding the clock a few years and go back to the wilderness, when Jesus had been fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. Luke tells us that when these days were over, he was famished. That's probably an understatement. And he was tempted to take some stones and turn them into bread. Did he struggle? Was he conflicted? Some say he saw the trap and dismissed it quickly. He found the correct scriptural verse, applied it to the temptation, problem solved. I see this differently. I imagine a struggle, like the inner conflict we are privileged to see in Gethsemane. Of course he wanted bread. But also, he had no desire to abuse his God-given powers. So I imagine a moment when the desire for bread filled him almost to the point of overwhelming him. His stomach ached for it. Getting bread from anywhere seemed like the right and logical thing to do. But in the midst of this conflict, he allowed that small still voice inside to have its say, and with huge effort, he refused. And only then did the storm pass. This is what temptation is. Because if he didn't crave the bread, if he wasn't hungry, if his body wasn't yearning with every fibre in it for some food, then he wasn't tempted. Can we really call this a temptation if it could be dismissed with no struggle? Now, how we see Jesus informs how we relate to him. Do we see Jesus as someone who glides through life with ease, or someone who faced hard decisions? Even with the gift of hindsight, the Gospels show us moments when the right path was not obvious. We can see Jesus struggling. And as time has gone on, I've grown to welcome these moments because I see Jesus not as the guy waiting for me at the finishing line, but as one who can truly be alongside me through life, as I struggle, as I'm conflicted. So when did he struggle? I think he was often conflicted, often unsure of his next best move as he sought to obey his Heavenly Father whilst dealing with other people and his own feelings. I've collected a few such instances and put them into a book alongside. I'm asking the question, did he struggle with his family, his friends, religious people, religious practice, the wealthy, the crowds, his destiny, and even his faith? I've collected around 40 or so reflections on this theme, and you can get this book directly from DLT. I put some questions at the end of each section, which might be useful if you're studying with a group of friends. But because such books are especially useful during Advent and Lent, I have put some questions specific for those seasons in this book too. And if you enjoy this, have a look at Eavesdropping, another of my books, Learning to Pray from Those Who Talk to Jesus. This is also available from DLT and in all the usual places.